It's never fun to learn that someone close to you used drugs. You show that they don't care, or, even worse, that you're just a means to an end for them. All the while, you keep wasting your time, effort, and trust on this relationship, only to realize all of a sudden that it doesn't matter. This is why it's better to look for the signs that someone doesn't care. Today, on our journey of self-discovery through Stoicism, we'll talk about something that hits home for many of us. The attitudes of people who use us without caring. It's a subject that makes us feel things, challenges our perceptions, and, most importantly, tests our stoic resolve. We will look at 10 behaviors of someone who only uses you and doesn't care about you, from breaking vows to making you feel bad about their mistakes. We won't dwell on these behaviors, but rather to figure out how we, as Stoics, can deal with them. How do you know if someone is just using you? What are the signs of a one-sided relationship where care and concern are absent? These are important questions that we need to answer, but more importantly, we'll talk about how to keep your peace and self-respect when someone treats you badly. Before we start our journey today, I want to challenge you to stay tuned until the end and not miss any of the lessons. Let's go on a journey to find the secret of a Stoic life, a life where stillness, steadfastness, and wisdom are the guiding lights. If you make it through this challenge, please leave your mark in the comments to let us know that you joined us on a meaningful and profound journey today. Now, let's look at the first sign that someone is only using you and doesn't care about you: breaking promises. Number 1, inability to keep promises. Have you ever put your trust in someone's promise, only to be left waiting as the promise fades into oblivion? Imagine the weight of disappointment pulling your heart into the depths of disbelief. This is what many people go through when others break their promises. What can Stoicism teach us about this? In this time of betrayal, let me tell you a story from ancient Rome about a similar situation. A Stoic philosopher had borrowed money from a trusted friend and promised to return it on a certain date, but when that date came, the friend was nowhere to be found. Instead of getting angry or depressed, the philosopher turned inward and thought about the teachings of Stoicism. He asked himself, "What am I in control of?" Now think about your own life. When someone breaks a promise to you, do you let it upset your peace of mind, or do you remember that their actions are out of your control but your response is? Stoicism teaches us to tell the difference between things we can change and things we have to accept. Can you think of a time when you practiced this distinction? How did it feel to let go of trying to control the uncontrollable? The Stoic philosopher in our story realized that he couldn't change his friend's actions, but he could change how he reacted to them. He chose understanding over anger, seeing the broken promise as a chance to make himself stronger. Remember that we are in charge of our own inner stage in life's grand theater. Let other people's messy promises be just shadows, and be the steady, fast light shining with the wisdom of Stoicism. Number 2, don't care about your feelings or wants. In ancient Greece, there was a small village where a young man gave his all to help a friend who was in need. Despite his best efforts and genuine care, his friend ignored his feelings and needs, taking his kindness for granted. The friend who was ignored feels growing turmoil inside. Have you ever felt unseen or unappreciated by someone you've given your time and energy to? This story isn't just history, it's real life. Today, when someone ignores your feelings and needs and treats your kindness like a given, it's like a strong wind trying to put out your inner flame. But Stoic wisdom shines like a guiding light. Your inner flame, your dignity, and your self-worth stay unharmed unless you let them be. Think about a time when you felt like someone took your efforts for granted. How did you react? Did you let their lack of interest dim your light, or did you find strength? Worth without being recognized for it. Stoicism teaches us that our happiness and peace don't depend on what other people want or do for us. If someone ignores your needs and feelings, Remember that it shows what kind of person they are, not how valuable you are. How empowering is it to know that you can choose not to let someone else's lack of interest disturb your tranquility right now? Imagine a future situation where you might have to deal with this kind of lack of interest again, but you will be ready with stoic resolve. You remain calm and collected while observing their actions without letting them upset your peace. You keep your dignity and self-respect intact. As we go through life, let us carry the stoic armor that protects our inner peace from the disregard of others. Let us remember that our self-worth is a fortress that can't be breached by the disregard or indifference of those around us. In this stable state, we find not only tranquility, but profound forgiveness. Number 3, talking down or making fun of others. Epictetus, a famous Stoic philosopher, once said, "It's not what happens to you that matters, but how you react to it." Let's talk about something we've all experienced, cutting comments from someone who only seems to want to take from us without giving anything back. Imagine sharing your thoughts or accomplishments with someone, and they either brush them off or make fun of you. It's like they're trying to hurt your feelings. Do not shake your foundation. Instead, remember that their words do not determine your worth. Your worth comes from what you carry, within unassailable and purely yours. So when you encounter someone who's using you not caring about your feelings, and they toss those diminishing comments your way, ask yourself, why give them the power to disturb my peace? Think about it. They throw words at you trying to get a rise, but you choose not to give them that power. You choose to respond with equanimity and poise now. I'm not saying it's easy. It's a practice, a daily moment to. Next time you encounter this problem, practice for a minute. Take a deep breath. Remember that you are the captain of your soul, the master of your thoughts. You can choose not to let their words penetrate your armor. If you do this, you will always be calm and determined, accepting in the face of all negative thoughts. And this is the best human reward that fortitude wants you to know what is wrong with what you command and to stand up for it. Choose to focus your energy on the first so that the next time you hear someone's words intended to belittle you, smile with your head and remember that their thoughts are just thoughts that are not your true meaning. You are the architect of your inner structure, which builds a strong structure and a strong intelligence. Number 4, not being there when it matters most. Imagine you're in the middle of a storm and you turn around expecting to see a friend with you, weathering the storm together. But when you look, there's no one there. They've left you to face the tempest alone. This isn't just a test of your endurance. It's also a profound opportunity to learn more about yourself and grow. Now let's look at some Stoic wisdom. Stoicism tells us that we can't change other people's actions, like when someone isn't there when we need them the most, but we can change how we react to them. The fact that your friend isn't there for you is out of your hands. When you think about a time when someone wasn't there for you, did you feel let down? Of course you did. But let's see what Stoicism says we should do with these feelings. Being calm teaches us a very important lesson. When you're alone and going through a tough time, remember that you have a lot of inner strength. Ask yourself, what can I control here? You can't control what other people do, but you can control how you react, how determined you are, and how present you are in their lives. Taking a Stoic approach doesn't mean you become an island indifferent to others. Rather, it's about recognizing what's truly within your power, your reactions, your mind, set your growth. And when you do that, you transform. You go from being a leaf tossed in the wind to being the tree deeply rooted and unshakable. No matter how strong the wind blows in, embracing this Stoic wisdom, you will see a way to find our inner fortress, our peace, regardless of who's with us or not. It's about discovering that even in the loneliest moments, we possess a wellspring of strength and resilience within us. That is the true power of outside. Number 5. Not showing respect over and over again. Our values are based on how much we respect our elves. A philosopher named Lawrence Stern once said that respect for others guides our manners. But what happens when we're with someone who doesn't respect us? It's like giving them a piece of your soul only to have it ignored or trampled on. Let's look at a story from ancient Rome that has been told many times. A Stoic who was disrespected not just once but over and over again. Your value doesn't depend on their approval or respect. It's something that's already there and can't be taken away unless you let them. Stoicism tells us to look inside ourselves, to find our core self-respect, and to keep it alive no matter what other people think. Let's not let the shifting sands of other people's respect or lack of it sway us. Instead, let's keep our sense of self-worth strong, knowing that the best respect comes from within and guides us through life's rough seas with grace and dignity. Now tell me, what would you do the next time someone doesn't respect you? Would you let it bother you? What is your self-esteem? Would you like to be stoic? Recognize that your self-respect is impregnable, a wall that no outside force can breach. Let us know your answer in the comments section below. We're halfway through today's lesson. Your presence is a great source of encouragement for us as we try to teach more people the true values of Stoicism. Please like and share this video to share these lessons with your family and friends, or leave a comment saying, "I appreciate my life," if you are ready for the journey with the next 5 lessons. Number 6. Using emotions to get what you want. This is the 6th sign that someone is only interested in using you and doesn't care about you at all. They are manipulating your emotions. Epictetus, a famous Stoic philosopher, said that freedom is the only worthwhile goal in life. But how can we be truly free if we are caught in someone else's web of emotional manipulation? Imagine you're a ship trying to set sail, but your anchor is caught in the deceptive depths of manipulation, making it impossible for you to navigate the vast seas of life. Have you ever felt like someone was playing your emotions like a fiddle, steering you this way and that like a saw? How do you stay strong in such a storm? First, see the situation for what it is. Someone is taking advantage of your emotions, not your worth or the fact that you have feelings. Remember that your emotions belong to you. No one else should be able to direct or change your inner citadel. Stoicism teaches us to separate our inner state from outside influences. When someone tries to control your emotions, they're trying to break into your citadel and take over your inner domain. But if you're wise, you can see this for what it is, a test of your strength and independence. Ask yourself, what part of this situation do I have control over? This includes your acts, your beliefs, and your choices. You have power over the manipulator's deeds, which you can't change, so they aren't worth your time or peace of mind. When you feel emotionally manipulated, take a moment to calm down and think about how your inner strength has grown through knowledge and Stoic practice. Remember that no one can make you feel bad about yourself without your permission, as Eleanor Roosevelt so eloquently put it. Stand tall, knowing that your emotional health is not a puppet that can be controlled by someone else's whims. By adopting this Stoic style, you give yourself the power to deal with emotional manipulation. Emotions can be a strong way to persuade others, but there are moral issues that come up when you do this. Here's a lesson on how to use your feelings in a healthy way. What is emotional intelligence? Emotional intelligence is the skill of recognizing, understanding, and controlling our own feelings as well as the emotions of others. You need to improve your emotional intelligence before you can use your feelings to get what you want. Empathy is very important. Empathy means being able to understand and share other people's thoughts. If you want to persuade someone, you need to understand their point of view. This lets you customize your method so that it hits home for them on an emotional level. Establish trust. Trust is the key to any good relationship. To use feelings to persuade others, you must first earn their trust. To build trust over time, be honest, real, and steady in how you talk to people. Use good emotions. Feelings like happiness, excitement, and thanks can really push you to do your best. Focus on making people feel good about things that are related to your goals when you're trying to persuade them. For instance, showing real interest in a project can get other people to join in. Be real. Being real is very important when using feelings to persuade others. Instead of manipulative methods, people are more likely to respond positively to real feelings. Don't lie about or exaggerate your feelings because it can hurt relationships and trust. Listen actively. To communicate effectively, you need to both say how you feel and hear what other people are saying. Pay attention to both spoken and unspoken cues when you listen actively and acknowledge the other person's feelings before you say your own. Take care of your bad feelings. Good feelings can motivate you, but bad feelings like fear, guilt, or anger should be used rarely and carefully. Instead of using fear or guilt to control other people, talk about your problems and find answers that work for everyone. Focus on win-win outcomes. If you want to use feelings to persuade someone, try to find outcomes where everyone wins. Instead of trying to get what you want by tricking or taking advantage of other people, look for answers that work for everyone and make relationships stronger in the long run. Lead by example in terms of ethics. The end goal should be to use feelings in a moral and responsible way. Don't use strategies that trick or force people to do what you want them to do. Instead, try to persuade others in a way that supports their independence and encourages understanding and respect between people. Finally, take some time to think about the people you've met and what you've learned from them. Think about how your emotions affected the result and be willing to hear what other people have to say. To understand the art of using emotions to persuade others effectively, you must keep learning and improving yourself. Number 7. Selective availability. You're free, but they're not. If it's not right, don't do it. And if it's not true, don't say it, as the wise Marcus Aurelius said. Let's apply this to relationships, especially to people who show selective availability. You know, those people who are always there for you when they need you, but nowhere to be found when it's your turn. Have you ever been in that situation where you're always there for someone, offering your time, ear or shoulder, but when it's your turn, they're just not there? It's like you're a convenience store open 24/7 for them, but they're a boutique with erratic hours that's only open when it suits them. So, think about how this makes you feel. It's normal to feel frustrated and unhappy, but Stoicism can help you see this situation in a different way. Stoicism tells us what we can and can't control. We can't change what other people do, but we can change how we react, what we expect, and how available we are. When someone selectively becomes available, it's a sign that you shouldn't base your happiness on their appearance, but on strengthening your own resilience. Remember that you have the power to decide where to spend your time and energy, just like the wise Stoic. You can choose not to be upset by other people's inconsistencies and instead focus on finding inner peace and investing in relationships that are truly two-way. So when someone shows selective availability, it's a sign for you to reevaluate, not with anger, but with calm clarity, that you deserve respect in return. It's about setting boundaries that honor yourself, worth, and ensuring that your kindness isn't taken for granted. In doing so, you're not just reacting, you're taking proactive steps to surround yourself with those who value your presence as much as you value theirs. And that, my friends, is a step towards true inner freedom and tranquility. Number 8. Not enough real backing. Have you ever felt the pain of always being there for someone, only to be left alone when you needed someone to lean on? This is a sad but common experience that shows the harsh truth of one-sided relationships where genuine support is not returned. Now think about your own life. Have you been through something similar? These feelings, disappointed, undervalued, and angry, are normal, but Stoicism can help us find peace during these hard times by teaching us to focus on our ability to help others without expecting anything in return. Stoicism is a light of wisdom during these hard times because it teaches us that even though we can't change other people's actions or feelings, we can change how we react to and think about the lack of support from others. Think about a time in your life when someone you trusted let you down. Stoicism tells you not to see this as an insult, but as a chance to renew your dedication to virtue and independence. It makes you think, why do I offer support? Is it out of gratitude or because it's the right thing to do? When you don't receive support, remind yourself that your worth and peace of mind are not dependent on others recognizing or returning your kindness. You can choose peace over anger to find strength in your character and resolve. So the next time someone doesn't support you, stick to your Stoic principles and be kind and helpful, not because you expect something in return, but because it's the right thing to do. When you don't receive support, remind yourself that your worth and peace of mind are not dependent on others recognizing or returning your kindness. You can choose peace over anger to find strength in your character and resolve. So the next time someone doesn't support you, stick to your Stoic principles and be kind and helpful, not because you expect something in return, but because it's the right thing to do. By doing this, you're not only dealing with the problem of unrequited support, you're also building a strong, self-reliant spirit. You learn to find fulfillment in the act of giving itself, not in the anticipation of receiving through this. You experience a profound sense of freedom and contentment knowing that your peace and happiness are not contingent on the actions or inactions of others. Number 9, closeness on the surface. Friendship that lasts grows slowly. George Washington once said something that shows the difference between real relationship and the shallow roots of superficial closeness. Imagine taking time and care for each plant in your garden, but one day you learn that what you thought was a flourishing rose is actually a fake. From a distance it looks real, but up close, it's clear there's no depth, no real growth, or life there. This situation isn't too different from our own experiences with people who seem close on the surface. They might seem like friends who are always there for the fun, but when the storm comes, they're the first ones to leave, like a shadow that doesn't offer shelter or warmth. Now, let's apply this to real life. Think of a coworker who is always happy to join you for lunch or a chat, but never shows up when you really need help or support. This lack of complexity can make you feel confused and, well, used. This is where Stoic philosophy comes in handy. It teaches us that even though we can't change how deeply others commit to us, we can change how we react to them. We learn to value deep, meaningful relationships and not be upset by ones that turn out to be shallow. So what should you do the next time you meet someone who smiles all the time in good times, but disappears when things get tough? Think about what you're expecting and tell yourself that you can handle things on your own. Stoicism isn't about making your heart harder. It's about understanding people and keeping your inner peace. If you adopt a Stoic mindset, you can handle the world of superficial closeness with wisdom and balance. You'll realize that your happiness isn't tied to the whims of moody friends, but to your own stable Stoic core. This is when you discover not only the joy of true friendship, but also the power of your own resilience and inner strength. Number 10, making you feel bad. No one can make you feel bad about yourself without your permission, Eleanor Roosevelt said. Reflect on this as we look at the behavior of people who use you and don't really care about you, especially those who manipulate your emotions to make you feel guilty. This is an example of emotional exploitation in which superficial closeness is used as a tool instead of a real bond. Imagine that you've always been there for a friend or coworker, lending an ear, offering a hand, and opening your door. The narrative. Suggesting your requests for support are burdensome or unreasonable, leaving you draped in unwarranted guilt. This scenario isn't just uncomfortable, it's enlightening. Stoicism teaches us that our internal state, our emotions and reactions are within our control, even when others' actions are not. When someone attempts to saddle you with guilt, they're not just stepping over a boundary, they're attempting to erode your autonomy over your feelings. Now let's apply Stoic wisdom when faced with such manipulation to ask yourself, what is within my power? You can't control their actions or their lack of genuine concern, but you can control how you interpret and respond to these actions. You have the choice to recognize this manipulation for what it is, an external attempt to influence your internal world, and to refuse to let it unsettle you. Embracing this Stoic perspective doesn't mean becoming indifferent or uncaring. Instead, it's about cultivating a robust inner fortress, one that acknowledges the actions of others without letting them dictate your self-worth or emotional state. So the next time you encounter someone who tries to make you feel guilty while showing a lack of true care, don't forget your Stoic protection. It's not about hiding your emotions, it's about giving yourself the strength to see them. Beyond the superficial guilt trip and keeping your calm, this is the way to not only understand, but also practice Stoicism in the face of emotional trickery, which will keep your peace of mind no matter what other people are trying to do. Here are 10 signs that someone is only using you and doesn't care about you. People have a wide range of relationships, from long-term friendships to romantic ones, family, relationships to short-term friendships, and more. No matter what kind of relationship you have with someone, it's important to communicate well. Remember that the goal of spotting someone who is using you and doesn't care about you is, if today's important journey with the Stoic philosophy moved you, please like the video and leave a comment. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future videos we post. Goodbye, and see you soon.